Hello and welcome to the Autocar Show. We're looking dead tired because we've had two packed days at this motor show. Karthik, for me, so much happened and yet nothing much happened. So I don't know how it was for you.
I think we are pretty well prepped to handle the Auto Expo nowadays. I mean, you come in with huge expectations of, running around and all that. But the strange thing was so many unveils, but very few launches. So I went and shot a whole load of bikes. But
And yet nothing's in the present. It's all in the future,
something to look forward to and a lot of that. So, I mean...
But hang on. Let's not spoil it for these guys because they haven't seen it just yet. For you guys, for us guys actually.
For us as well. The Expo didn't start yesterday. It
started way before the Expo. So let's take you right back there.
The first to stir up the excitement was Bajaj, with their first in a new family of commuters, the V15. Styling does set it apart, as do some of its genes. After all, some of the metal from India's first aircraft carrier, the INS Vikrant, has gone into the making of the V15's tank. The next day, another bike was unveiled that wears its inspiration with pride. Royal Enfield's Himalayan. This long-awaited adventure tourer looks sturdy and sorted, and very much ready for the Himalayas. The launch and prices of this long-legged motorcycle are still a month away. Volkswagen kicked the action off for four-wheelers with the unveil of their new compact sedan, the Ameo. The front half could very well be the Polo, and the rear ends in a rather stubby boot. Renault found that the aerofoam tail lamps were the only interesting bits that stood out in this car.
Of course, the interior is also very familiar. A lot of it shared across the Polo and the Vento. But what's new here is this touchscreen infotainment system, which is going to have the mirror link, which is connective. So basically, you can connect your Apple or your Android phone. Lots of loading over here. It's got rain-sensing wipers and cruise control, which is the first in the segment. It's got electrically foldable outside rear view mirrors. What's really nice to know is that it's got ABS and passenger and driver airbags as standard across all variants.
The Ameo is powered by a 73 bhp 1.2-litre petrol engine and an 89 bhp 1.5-litre diesel unit from the Polo, and it's expected to go on sale in the first quarter of 2016. And then finally, the action kicked off in style at 8 AM on the 3rd. The Vitara Brezza was the first launch of the day. This is Maruti's first foray into the sub-4-meter SUV segment. Built ground up in India, it has the attitude and the beef.
You've got this horizontal grille with loads of chrome projector headlamps with LEDs. And of course, there's this large air dam, there's housings for the fogs and the indicator lights, and a 4-skid plate up front too.
Now, the interiors of the Brezza do suggest that it's been built to a cost, and Maruti have stated that it will not be sold through their Nexa channel. So, you can expect very competitive pricing. Space in the backseat and in the boot seems to be comparable with what's on offer in the segment. This compact SUV is powered by Maruti's tried-and-tested 1.3-litre diesel engine from the Ertiga, Ciaz and S-Cross. The top-spec Vitara Brezza ZDI Plus gets dual-tone exterior paint and Maruti's SmartPlay infotainment system with Apple CarPlay. When it comes to safety, the Brezza gets a single airbag across all variants, while a second airbag and ABS are optional on all variants. After the Brezza, Hyundai unveiled their compact SUV concept. The concept looks a bit boxy and square, and unlike the fluidic design language that we are used to from Hyundai. But there was another unveil from Hyundai, the Tucson. and it had all the flourishes and curves that we're used to seeing on a Hyundai. The Tucson is expected to launch in August or September and will be offered with both petrol and diesel variants and an automatic transmission as well. Expected to be priced in the 17 to 24 lakh rupee range.
It's hard to imagine that this car, the Essentia, is actually based off the Beat. In fact, it looks so much larger. It looks really well proportioned. I think we need to come around the side to see the proportions of this car. It really doesn't look like a boot has been added onto the hatchback, and as you can see, it looks fairly large as well, so hard to imagine it's off the Beat platform. Now, what makes you realize it is off that platform is this sharply rising window line, and if you can see on this larger sedan, it looks quite sharp and steep, and you see a lot of mass of metal under the door, so the tire lands up looking small. Coming back to the front of this car, you can see that it looks quite different. It's only the grille part of it that essentially remains the same, but the rest of it is quite changed and makes it look quite distinctive and different.
A well-proportioned compact sedan, the Essentia speaks of GM's renewed efforts to gain ground in the Indian market. The interiors also carry materials, textures and styling that aim to give the Essentia a premium feel for this segment.
Now, amongst all the clutter of compact this and compact that I've seen here at the Auto Expo all day, here's something that's really stood out to me, and I least expected it to be from brand Tata, but that's it. This is the Tata Nexon, and it's an amazing looking car. We saw it in the concept version, and we're seeing it in reality, and trust me, it's almost the same. And that's what the designer just told us. You know, Pratap Bose just told us that they wanted to keep true to the concept. There are a lot of styling details going on here. There's these white ceramic edges which run around the fog lamps, and then if you come around the side, there's the ceramic that runs around the belt line. It's a great finish. It's really matte and looks nice. It gives the car an absolute standout edge. The front very chunky and beefy. It's got this large grille, big air dam, so it's got the strength that you need for a compact SUV. Like I said, the side profile, you see the nice high ground clearance, large wheels, so it gives it the attitude that you expect.
It wasn't just the exterior, but the interior was impressive as well, with rich materials and textures. An iPad-like floating information display and the neatly styled dash. As it turned out, the Nexon not only offered style but practicality as well. Tata's competitor for the Innova, the Hexa, was also on display. It looks stylish and premium and has spacious interiors as well. It's slated to come with a 154 bhp Varicor 400 engine. But the word is, Tata is working on a sub-2-litre engine as well. Also on display was a sleekly styled notchback version of the Z car, codenamed the Kite 5. Tata owned JLR for making their own statement with the first real launch of the Expo, and that was the XE.
So you've seen our full review of the Jaguar XE, so I'm not going to go into detail here. The big news here at the Expo is the prices. They've just launched the car. The 198 bhp version will be 39.9 lakhs ex-showroom. The 238 bhp version, both petrol engines of course, will be 46.5 lakhs ex-showroom. Now there's a huge gap between these two, and that's because you also get a variety of additional trim and specs with the higher end version of the car, apart from the performance, obviously.
There was also the F-Pace, which will come later this year. It's the first SUV from the brand, which promises performance and dynamics of a Jaguar with more practicality.
So this is the second generation BMW X1, and it's definitely grown. I mean, that's visible. It's higher, it's taller, it's larger in its proportions, and it definitely looks more SUV than it did before. Now this is where you notice the big difference in the back seat. There's more leg room, there's more headroom. It just feels larger, more comfortable, and the boot is large too. you now have a large 505-liter boot, so you can pack in a load of luggage to go out of town. Of course, the seats will flip down in various versions to open up more space, but the big one really is the spare, which you now have in the car, which was the big missing factor earlier.
Amongst the handful of cars to be launched that day was one at the Audi stall, the R8. It's lighter, stiffer, sleeker, and has a solid 601 bhp from its naturally aspirated V10 engine. This new R8 aims to answer one tough question.
When Audi first launched the R8, the question was, what's an Audi supercar? But by the end of his lifespan, the question was, how was Audi going to top that? Well, the answer is right here with the all-new R8, and it's on sale in India as the R8 V10 Plus, the only guys that's on sale right now at about 2.5 crore rupees ex-showroom Delhi. How good is it to drive? Well, we're hoping to find out, and it should be plenty good.
Meanwhile, Honda had brought one of their most iconic nameplates down to the Auto Expo, the Africa Twin CRF 1000L. This great big adventure bike will be launched in India in 2016. And to make this 1000cc rough road expert a bit more affordable, Honda planned to assemble it in India. But if you want to have an adventure, Honda showed that you needn't buy big or go far.
Well, what Honda's got here is the Navi, and what it is a disruption in the urban mobility market. In other words, in the scooter market. If you've seen scooters, easy runabouts for the urban environment, the hustle bustle of the city, this can do all of it because it is effectively that. It's got the engine of the Activa 110 underneath, but it's got this funky styling to it. It looks like a really small motorcycle. It's got 5 colors. It's going on sale right now for 39,500 rupees, and deliveries start in April. Can't wait to test this out. I'm sure you've dreamt of owning a European exotic. Well, this August it looks like it's going to come true, and it's going to be an Aprilia. Well, it might be an Aprilia scooter. We told you Aprilia is going to be showing one at the Expo, and here it is. And it's a beautiful way of showing that European brands can customize for India as well. First and foremost, the name. It's not the SR motard. They've just dropped the motard because the Indian masters wouldn't understand what that means. Instead, you're getting the SR 150. This is going to be made totally in Baramati. It's going to be made here, sold here. So it's going to be a really fun, interesting motorcycle with those large wheels. See there, I call it motorcycle. It's a scooter, but it gives you that fun kind of feel. With those large wheels especially, should have a good amount of pep. Will be on sale around August. Pricing should be in the 70 to 80,000 rupee range.
Also playing hard to get was a fully fed motorcycle at the TVS stall. This concept, called the Akula, which means shark, has been built around the BMW G310R. It hints at an exciting production bike.
It points towards a bike from TVS that is expected later this year, and it will look a lot like this. As much as 60% of what you see here is going to be there on the production bike. For instance, the red chassis, the rear aluminium subframe is going to change. It's going to become a trellis frame as well, but all the aerodynamic bits like the ram air induction is going to be there. The shark gill vents here, all of that is going to be part of the production bike. So this is going to be a really interesting bike when we get to ride it towards the end of 2016. Now, for those of you looking for a full-fat adventure bike on a tight budget, are going to have to wait a little bit longer for this, the DSK Benelli 502, because it's slated to hit showrooms around July, August later this year. Well, we were expecting this to be an aggressively priced motorcycle because it's an all-new platform that uses a new parallel twin engine with about 500 cc's of displacement, about 46 bhp of power. But still, how does 5.5 lakh rupees at the very most sound like for a motorcycle like this, which is going to come with ABS, electronics, and of course with the go anywhere ability and the looks to go along with that as well. At Auto Expo 2016, we've seen the arrival of a new motorcycle brand. This is the brand. We've spoken about it before, and the motorcycles that they've launched are these cruisers.
The Renegade Sport S looks like a modern cruiser. It has 25 bhp of power from a 280cc engine which is packed into a curvaceous body, making it very tempting indeed. It is all the more tempting as it is priced at 1.49 lakh rupees ex-showroom Delhi.
Welcome back to the Autocar News Desk. Karthik and me are still deep in discussion about all that happened here at the Auto Expo, but you still have more to watch, so take a look.
Renault Car's second day at the Expo started off at the Mercedes stall.
Well, a really important product for Mercedes over here, the GLC, because this plugs actually the last gap in their product portfolio. It sits between the GLE and the GLA, and it will compete with the likes of the Audi Q5 and the BMW X3.
The GLC has a stylish interior with a wedge-shaped dash in two-tone colors.
Well, this version of the GLC comes with a panoramic sunroof, so it does feel nice and airy on the inside, and there's a good amount of legroom here at the back. There's enough space and legroom here for the middle passenger too, so a comfortable back seat definitely in the GLC.
At the same time, the boot is big enough to do the airport runs as well. Moving from luxury SUVs to the more mass variety, Renault had a buzzing stall with its star cars, the Duster and the Kwid, drawing attention in the new avatars.
Well, here at the Auto Expo, what they've unveiled is a 1-litre version of the Kwid. So opposed to the regular 800cc engine, you will now also get the Kwid with a 1-litre engine. And if you see this EasyR badging, standing for easier, I think, we're going to offer this version with an AMT gearbox as well. So you'll see the 1-litre Kwid with the Auto AMT gearbox. Well, when Autocar first reviewed the Kwid, if you remember, we did tell you there was this blank space left on the dashboard, and that's probably where the knob for the AMT version would be housed, and that's exactly where it is. So if you see, you have this little round knob which gives you reverse, neutral and drive. So it's really as simple as that, an automatic little car. Now, unfortunately, the 1-litre and the 1-litre AMT is not something that you will see immediately on Indian roads. It's still 6 months down the line.
Duster on the other side looked smarter with its facelift. The front carries a smart double-slatted chrome grille now, which is flanked by really interesting 4-part headlamps. The skid plate gets a 4 matte aluminium finish, and there are new alloys as well. The rear looks quite different thanks to the funky S-form tail lamps. One key change that has been teased here is an AMT automatic gearbox. This will be offered on the 110 PS version of the Duster. Meanwhile, at the Honda stall, their upcoming SUV, CUV, crossover utility vehicle, that's the BRV, was on display. We've reviewed the BRV earlier, and we can't wait for it to be launched later this year to sample it on Indian roads. But there was another Honda that was getting me quite upbeat.
Now, Honda's bringing the Accord back to India, and I'm really excited because this new face reminds me of that Accord. You know, the one with the shark nose. Still love that design. And well, of course, this is an all-new car, and the one that we're seeing here right now is the petrol variant. But that's not the one that we're going to get when it is launched around Diwali this year. What we will get to India is the hybrid version of the Accord, but it's not been launched in the US yet. So we're going to have to wait just a little bit longer before the Accord makes its comeback to India.
The Accord uses electric motors in the CVT gearbox for quick responsiveness and maximum efficiency. Meanwhile, the Toyota stall was displaying the new Innova.
Well, you saw Sharper's full-blown test drive of the new Toyota Innova, and it's here at the Auto Expo, but it's got a little bit of rechristening over here because it's being called the Innova Crysta over here. So it's getting a new badging and a new name as well. Other than that, I think everything is pretty similar to what you saw in our test drive story on the outside as well as on the inside. Differences for India? Well, apart from the 2.4-litre engine, now the top-end variant of the automatic version will also get a 2.8-litre diesel variant. And the big news really is now the Innova is also going to come with a petrol engine.
The last of the unveils was another interesting compact car, the Maruti Suzuki Ignis.
This is the Suzuki Ignis from Maruti. You're going to see it in the festive season. They're going to launch it with two engine options, a petrol and a diesel. They're going to position it premium, so it's going to be sold through the Nexa channels.
Edgily styled, the Ignis is like a compact car on steroids. It's got lots of interesting styling details, like the shark fin cuts on the C-pillar. There's the squared-off SUV-like front with the beefy grille. There's blacked-out A and B pillars and tall 19-inch wheels. It clearly looks like the car for Gen X, and the interiors also follow through in the same design language.
Now Yamaha's really sprung a big surprise on us here at the Auto Expo. We were expecting to see the MT-03, the naked version of the R3. Instead, what we've ended up with here is their flagship naked bike, the MT-09. And you know what? In the saddle here on the bike, you really won't think of it as a near leader class motorcycle. It just feels very slim because of course it's got a 3-cylinder engine, so it has that narrowness to it. It looks, well, not all that big, and the ergos, everything points towards a streetable motorcycle that will also be fun. It's a Yamaha, so we expect that, of course. In terms of power and performance, I think you won't have that outright whack that you expect from a near leader class bike. But what Yamaha harps on when it comes to the MT range of motorcycles is usability. And that's really what they're aiming for. They're saying that even be fairly fuel efficient, quoting about 19 kpl for daily usage. So if that's what tickles your fancy, this is on sale now for about 10,20,000 rupees. Although deliveries will only start happening about 2-3 months from now. Now, one of the stars from the world of motorcycles here at the Expo has to be this, the BMW G310R. Now, this is the first taste I'm getting of the motorcycle. Had only seen it in pictures up till now. A lot of expectations, and you know what? You hop onto the saddle and it just feels so right. In the sense of the seating posture, the muscularity of it, it feels meaty, not too big. In terms of pricing, a lot of people are expecting it to undercut the KTM Duke or at least match it, but I think it is going to come at a bit of a premium. It's going to be more expensive than the Duke 390, maybe as much as about 2.1, 2.2 lakh rupees, but that should still make it a really attractive motorcycle.
Loaded with innovative engineering, the G310R is going to be a hit with the geeks. But we'll all have to wait till the end of 2016 for the arrival of this BMW.
And that's a wrap
From Auto Expo 2016. Thanks for watching.
And do remember to come back next week.